Hey, I'm Mike, a network engineer with over 18 years experience. Here with...
I'm Chris, and I have over 20 years of experience in networking and security as well as in cloud, and I'm now a federal SE with Forward Networks.
Today we're going to talk about a problem that plagues a lot of network, cloud, and security people. How to troubleshoot hybrid cloud issues effectively. Normally what would happen is we would all jump on a trouble bridge. There'd be a lot of arguing back and forth of whose problem it really is, falls to the network guy, and then just going back and forth. You're there for a few hours trying to sort out, who's gonna log in first and try to figure out what the problem is. And then before you know it, you've been on this trouble bridge for hours. We're gonna see how Forward Networks can greatly reduce that mean time to insight to get you the answers you need quickly so you can remediate the problem faster. All right, Chris, let's see how we can do this. So we got a ticket where there's a workload in the data center that can't access a workload in AWS.
Okay.
How can we make this easier for people without having to jump on these trouble bridges where everyone's just blaming everyone and no one's looking into anything?
Sure. So the nice thing about what Forward Networks does is we build you a digital twin of your on-prem and your cloud environments. So you've got everything in one place. So with your workload being up here in AWS, but your app developers being down here in the Atlanta data center, when it comes to trying to figure out why all of a sudden access is not working, you can actually ask the model the question. So let's plug in the workstation the app devs are using, as well as the instance in the cloud that's running the web application, plug in the protocols and ports, and let's ask the model what's going on.
Okay.
So it looks like if we scroll down the list of hops in this path that we've got here, it looks like we've got some Palo Altos in the AWS Oregon region that are dropping the traffic. Okay. So that's why you're not getting through. Now the nice thing about looking at path details in Forward is that you can click on any hop in the path and it's going to show you what it's doing to Forward and filter the traffic. So let's take a look specifically at what's going on with this Palo Alto. So we've got our L3 forwarding area down here, and we don't have forwarding going on right now, obviously, because traffic is getting dropped by an ACL. So to see the details of what this ACL is doing, we can look up here under access control, and we can see the deny thing right there. But to get specific insight into, okay, what part of that config is going to show you where the traffic is getting dropped, we can click on See Device State. So notice what happens when you do this. You get a zoomed in view of the running config from that Palo Alto over here, and the rule that's highlighted is the culprit. You can see the deny action right there. Okay,
so now typically when we found this in the trouble bridge, they'd be like, network guy, make the change. As the network guy, I want to know if there's end-to-end connectivity. And in the black hole that is the cloud, you really don't know. And I honestly don't even think the cloud guys know if there's end-to-end connectivity on the side of this. So is there something that we can do to save me having to beg the change board to make the change? And then if it doesn't work, going back to him like, hey, listen, I thought it would work, but we're in the cloud, and now I need another change window because there could be something else. Is there something that we can do to visualize the entire path?
Yeah, as you probably are well aware, and as your cloud people can probably attest to, getting that kind of visibility in the cloud using the native tools can be challenging at times. But the nice thing about Forward, having everything in one continuous model, is the same kind of details that I'm showing you for your on-prem devices, you can see in the cloud as well. And more specifically, you could go ahead and fix that Palo Alto, but you want to know if it's going to fully take care of the problem.
Yes.
Right? So to see if we've got any other blocking factors in this equation besides this Palo Alto, there's a really great feature in the platform called Permit All Mode. So when you engage this, what you are essentially doing is you are saying, hey, Forward, by the way, while you're answering my question, any firewall rules or router ACLs, anything that would otherwise filter the traffic, I want you to show me where all these blocking factors are, but I also want you to disregard them and show me how things would look if traffic were not getting filtered out.
Okay.
So the nice thing about that, going back to our path once again, we scroll down the list of hops in this path. Now here's the Palo Alto pair we were looking at before. And again, to see what this blocking factor looks like, you can come up to access control, click on see device state, there's that deny action in that ACL. We were just looking at this, right? But now, as to the big picture thing, let's continue scrolling on to see any other potential blocking factors. Oh, wow. Look at this. Right before the final destination on this AWS subnet, there's another one. See the purple text there?
Yeah.
So that's also related to permit all mode being turned on. So visually, there's also a color distinction here. It's saying ACL rules ignored in purple. So to see what this blocking factor looks like here on this AWS subnet right before the final destination, we can click on that just like we clicked on the firewall. And this is what I was talking about when I said you can get the same kind of visibility within your cloud stuff that you can get for on-prem. More specifically, we look at the properties of this AWS subnet. Well, the problem isn't the network ACL. You can see the permit statement right there. But if we continue looking at the cloud security related info, here's the deny action. So here's where this culprit is. And more specifically, it's an implicit deny on a particular security group. So we can click on cconfig, and here's the list of inbound rules on that security group in AWS. The one that's highlighted, that's the implicit deny in question. Now you get all the visibility into all the blocking factors.
Now, this is good because this looks like you don't need to be a cloud guru to understand what's going on.
Not at
It's
all.
very well laid out to a point where even myself as a network guy can come in here, run this similar search if I'm doing something else, and be able to see what the problem is without having to bother the cloud guy on his coffee break.
Yep, sure.
Fantastic. So now with this, we need to start creating tickets to groups. So I know the cloud guy that I deal with really doesn't believe anything I say. It's more like, yep, how do you know? How do you know you're in the right account? How do you know you're in the right this? How do you know you're in the right that, right?
Sure.
How can I, when I create this ticket, give him exactly what we're looking at so he knows that this is what we see and this is what we see it where like the blocks are.
Well, the nice thing is that these results that we've just been looking at, you can actually take this URL and you can copy and paste it right in the ticket. So the same thing you're seeing, you can give them as evidence to convince them that this is how things actually are.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. So we saw the results from this complex problem that we dissected that would have taken days to at least get to the first part of it, the firewall, to now we isolated the two places where the issue is in a matter of minutes versus days to weeks. This is great that now I can get my weekend back. We know what we have to do to fix the problem, and we can give tickets to the appropriate teams, give them the URL so then they can see the same sheet of music that we're looking at versus playing the guessing game.
Yep.
That's great. That's awesome.
That's the power of the Forward platform.
I truly don't know what I'm going to do with all this free time now because I was so anticipating being on a trouble call for days.
I'm sure.
Where people are like, hey, Mike, it's the network. Just go in, work your magic, and figure it out.
Right.
But now with this, it's like, hey, here you go, cloud guy. Now your weekend's ruined.
That's right.
Now you know how it feels. Awesome. Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you for saving the day.
Anytime. Happy
Awesome.
to help.